plays itself out in many ways, but in all ways it's an acquisition-based appetite to own, to dominate, to command, to conquer, um, to, to, and it's never satiated. Any type of satisfaction is only temporary, because innately that appetite is one for infinite variables, and they keep trying to fill it, an infinite appetite, with finite variables. They try to fill a thirst for eternity with multiple linear machinations, one by one. And so it's never satisfied. It's only for a brief instance, for a brief moment. Many refer to these types of individuals with like an archetype, kind of like an energy vampire. They're constantly in thirst for their next meal, and if they don't get it, then they begin to feel like they're collapsing. They have no sustainability without leveraging off the energy of another or the assets of another. It's important to understand that the individual that's in this state, that they are in this state because at some point they shut the shade. They said, I'm ashamed. I'm not worthy of connectivity to all. I'm not worthy of connecting and vibrating with higher resonance in the eternal love of all that is. And so in that space where they allow themselves to fall to shame and they allow themselves to feel that they are not worthy, then they invited a partnership with baser frequencies. And the baser frequencies don't have any power on their own. They have no power at all their own. They all reverberate the same energy of maximizing and engaging in acquiring their energy and light through domination and dominion of another. And the way they glean that domination is by isolating that other and disconnecting it from source. And in doing it, that energy, that individual, takes their light of life and spills it, so to speak, to the other side. The light of life, the higher love, is too intense. It's too strong an energy and too strong a frequency for baser resonance to benefit from. An individual who's aligned in co-creation, actively co-creating with benevolent resonances, is completely protected from baser resonances. Because the light they are streaming, that energy, is too intense for baser resonances to approach, to process. What the baser energies want, what these legions want, these hordes, what they want from the individual is for the individual to begin broadcasting out of alignment, in baser resonances, in frustration, in anger, in greed, in need, in want, in oppression. An individual who receives the light of life and broadcasts this light of higher resonance and broadcasts it and converts it into baser frequency through their heart, empathic heart resonance, then, so to speak, spills that light in a format that baser frequencies can then feed off of, can then sustain themselves off of. So to speak, the baser resonances don't have energy in their own, of their own. Their energy is derived parasitically from the individual. And their job is to create the optics within the individual to keep the individual in a persistent state of need or frustration or anger or want, and keep echoing and echoing and echoing off those pressure points, those fault lines, those fault points where a person went through some kind of trauma or felt they were treated injustice or felt they were abandoned or felt that they were maligned or misunderstood or treated unjustly, and echo it until the individual is stuck within a vortex. They shut the shade from connectivity to the source of all, and they're reverberating. They feel victimized, so they become they become the oppressor. The victim becomes the oppressor because the victim is suffering from the reverberations of the act of victimhood, the act of oppression, and it causes a callousness on the individual's heart. And they are changed. They're not who they are. They are changed because there's a link between the oppressor and the victim. And without reaching a place of complete forgiveness, which is gratitude for what happened, that individual will be stuck in the vortex of the cycle of reverberations from the oppressor to the victim. And the victim will be rendered the oppressor. And the victim who's rendered the oppressor is detached from the interconnectivity of the light of all, then proceeds to search for its next victim, where it's going to afflict another. For it can't receive power from a higher space, and needs to find power in the way it's been imprinted upon them through oppression, through oppressing another. And the reason why they're stuck in this vortex and this reverberation is because the baser resonances are echoing it, are mirroring it to that individual to keep them in a sustained state of dissatisfaction, want, need, anger, and resentment, because in that way the light that is imparted to them will be converted into baser resonances for them to parasitically nurture off this individual's light of life in actuality. And so to speak, these energies can then act in the world of actuality through this individual. For we are all in co-creation. This individual is passively co-creating. He's along for the ride. But this individual has the ability to awaken. At all times, the individual has the ability to awaken. And I say this profoundly. In my journey, I have witnessed a lot of individuals who are stuck in depression or stuck in cycles of angst or anger. And what I've noticed most about these individuals is that in these states they are unable to take part in another's happiness. They are completely unable to find joy in another's joy. They're very able to find dissatisfaction, rage, irritation, and what's wrong in the world. But they're completely unable to take part in the light of what is right, what is beautiful, what's renewal. And what's beautiful of this drama of creation is that at all times where people die, there are people being born. At all times when there's destruction, there's new hope and new creation. And so it's the individual's free choice what they choose to focus on and resonate with. It's true that an individual is in many ways, they are a byproduct of their surroundings and what's reverberating in their area. But there is one thing. There is one frequency that's always in the individual's complete power. They can choose. It's completely their choice no matter what happens. And that is how much they choose to express their song in love, with connectivity with all. Nothing is hindering them and nothing is stopping them. They can always broadcast a higher love. They can always broadcast a greater grace and love with their song of truth. Whether they're being oppressed or whether they're being treated wonderfully. They're always able to reach profound cadences of love. And that is a space of freedom. And when an individual chooses that love in the space of freedom, in the face of oppression, in the face of difficulties, the individual can climb out of that vortex just by noticing the beauty and the abundance and the bountifulness and the light that's imparted in the world around them. There is always someone who has something good happening. There is always a good development. There's always wonderful things. Yes, it doesn't sell newspapers. It doesn't sell the news. But there is so much out there, and if an individual is stuck in a cycle, all they need to do is focus on the benevolent beauty of abundance that's flowing within the world around them. Connect to that song and frequency, and they will find that frequency within themselves, and they will flow abundance forth. They will realign back into oneness.